welcome to the Badger Beer Report. I am your host, Greg Washington, purveyor of Dosh Beer, and I am wonderfully joined by my cohort and compadre and friend and connoisseur of many breweries, Joel Geyer, also a purveyor of Dosh Beer.
Yes, that is for sure, Greg. And feel like we were just talking, I feel like the every 2 weeks has kind of become the norm for us with these updates. And we'll be starting off with some sadder news, but we do not fret. We have plenty of very exciting news, some of which literally broke this afternoon, that we will provide as much information as we possibly can at this point. But a lot going on in the craft beer world in Wisconsin. They are keeping us on our toes, as they say. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. So I'll let you start the festivities off.
Can you pull up the slides?
Yeah.
I don't know why it won't let me do
that.
Yeah, for some reason.
Weirdo.
So we're needing to start with this news. We had on here, this is, of course, in regards to 1840 Brewing Company, based here in the Bayview neighborhood in Milwaukee. And you may be wondering, why is Joel wearing a bro tank? Well, it is my 1840 drink slow beer tank top.
Not for the guns.
Okay. No, I don't. I'm not really one to have much there to show off. So, but 1840 announced just a couple weeks back, I believe, that they would be closing their West Bend tap room. That officially closed 10 days ago now. This announcement, according to the Instagram post, seemed like there was a lot of issues with this location well before they opened their doors. Problems with the contractor. It was delayed, I believe, something like 11 months, and they were having to pay the rent for a majority of it. There were issues with the building and not being able to have all of the revenue streams coming in that they were planning on. And it just seems like it was just not, it was a full like new build. It was part of this overall structure, like downtown West Bend, supposed to be this great thing. And it just does not seem like it ever really got off the ground hardly. It was around, I think, 13 months, I believe, officially is what was what we figured out. And yeah, it's unfortunate when you have breweries go through this. And we had kind of expressed some concerns with that. And then when they announced this closing, we kind of just held our breath like, okay, well, hopefully they're pulling back and focusing on the Bayview tap room. And then just a couple days ago, we did get the announcement that 1840 is closing and that their last day of service is this Sunday, June 29th, which means that you have just a few more days left if you want to visit them, revisit them, whatever the case may be. I do know tomorrow, Wednesday night, is members only night for their VIP members. And so if you are not a VIP, make sure you're not trying to go tomorrow because they are closed to the public. It is just for their VIP members, and they have special bottles and stuff that they'll be selling to them. And then if there's stuff left over, it will then be available to the public when they open up on Thursday. This one stings for a multitude of reasons. I think first and foremost, aside from the beer and the brewery, I think that it's important to note that 1840 has been going through a lot behind the scenes. In terms of their family life, this is not something that is like a private matter. But so the co-founders, so Kyle and Stephanie, this I believe it was last fall, they announced, 1840 announced that Stephanie had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And that is, no matter what position you are in life, no matter where you are at in life, that is a very, very difficult thing to come by. And it is, they have two younger daughters, I believe. and it's just devastating. And at the time, people obviously were concerned. They had this expansion that had wasn't too old, and there were a multitude of different fundraisers because, I mean, trying to battle any form of cancer, in particular, a stage 4 aggressive cancer like this, is unfortunately very expensive in this country. And it obviously has become their main focus. And I think that was what our pal Chris Drosner just published an article with Milwaukee Magazine, pretty much confirming that for all the financial, if there was those kind of the issues, like the primary reasoning here for closing is that I believe the quote was something like, we have the energy for like one battle, and that needs to be the battle at home. And so Milwaukee is losing one of their best breweries, but I think first and foremost, we do need to recognize that there is a family behind this brewery who is going through a lot and has been going through a lot for many months now. And I think I speak for all of us with Badger Beer Report and probably everyone listening that we wish Kyle Stephanie and their family just, all the positive thoughts are being sent your way. I am planning on going down to 1840 on Thursday night for my last trip down there. They have consistently been one of my favorites in the Milwaukee area. They're always in my top echelon when I'm doing like a little tiered list for visitors. When they first opened, for those that don't remember, they were only open one weekend a month. You had to work. You had to really schedule it out if you wanted to go see them, because they were doing a bunch of oak aging slow beers, because that's where their slogan, drink slow beer, came from. Like, they were making small batch stuff. And I still remember when they expanded their hours, not once, but twice, and thinking it was just so awesome. I've taken, I don't know how many friends from outside of the state, at least 3 or 4 people that I can think of off the top of my head pretty recently have came from outside of the state that I have taken to 1840. Several of them actually went home with 1840 merchandise. So I did message them when the news broke. I actually have in my basement, I have 2 spent barrels from their wine barrels from one of their beers that I turned into a bar in my basement. And yeah, this one sucks. This one really sucks because, this isn't about this isn't like some, you can point to like, oh, well, it's this business thing, or, or the beer or whatever. Like, no, the reasoning for this is so far beyond what you normally would consider a reason for a brewery closure that it makes it that much harder to swallow, because what is going on behind the scenes. And so, yeah, I just, if you are in anywhere near the Milwaukee area and you have not been to 1840, please go make the trip. Maybe sooner rather than later. I know that Chris told us they were already tapping out of certain beers. So just do what you can to go down there, give them some last support, make sure to send them off. I know that from when they first opened up until now, they have had an immense footprint on the Milwaukee beer scene and the Wisconsin brewery scene as a whole. Their beer's incredible. They've won awards. They've always been great with the community. Yeah, I feel I could go on because I obviously very much remember the first time I visited. I believe it was late 2017 or early 2018. And up until recently, I was just down there again just a few weeks ago. So yeah, I feel like I could talk for a while on this one, but we have a lot of other things to discuss. And there's a lot of articles out there kind of detailing this whole process and what has kind of led to this moment. But yeah, this one stings a lot. And I will be thinking of Kyle and Stephanie moving forward, and I will be going down there and enjoying as much of the 1840 beer that I can on my final trip there.
Yeah. You're breaking up or I'm breaking up. But I did hear everything you said, and actually, I don't really have much to add.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like, that kind of says it all at this point. Well, it doesn't say it all. It says what I can say in a short little, spiel. But go support 1840. Hopefully I will see some folks down there, and make sure to show them their love. So, and then we have one other piece of closure news. We have Bevy Brewery and Winery out of Wisconsin Dells. And this is not to diminish it. Unlike 1840, I do not have personal experience with Bevy or with their beer. But I can say that it is a bummer to lose another brewery, particularly in the Wisconsin Dells, where there have been some, I guess call them issues with breweries being able to stay. In particular, breweries that, are not kind of adjunct locations. The one kind of mainstay brewery, Moose Jaw, has been, and Dell's Brewing has, it's primarily restaurant based, and we've lost Pert Huron and Latte Stone there. Pal's just moved in, but again, that is not their primary location, and they're also a larger kind of more location for people to go and visit, have a full experience, a lot of food options, big outdoor area. And we also have, Gravity Box moving in, but again, they are similarly, this is their secondary location. But yeah, so I'm hoping that with Bevy, wishing them the best. I do wish that I'd been able to get there. They were a name that I would at least had on my radar. But yeah, hopefully, down the road, we're going to see some more Dells breweries moving in here, and wish them all the best of luck. Greg, I don't know if I lost you there, if you're back there, if you had anything you wanted to add. Otherwise, we will just keep moving forward here. And so we can now move on here with the exciting and the good news for pretty much the rest of the show here. First up, we have Fond du Lac Beer Company, and the wait is finally over. If you've been following this, you obviously know that, or following us, that we have been covering Fond du Lac for quite some time now, since when they first kind of made this announcement. And they are filling a pretty big void there with Fond du Lac not having any craft breweries. And this isn't like an announcement of, oh, we're opening on X date. No, they announced on a Facebook post they are officially open. They had their soft open or whatever shortly before that, and they are going to be open, it's looking like Wednesday through Sundays, with extended hours on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And according to the website, they're going to be open at 10 a.m. on Saturday, so you can get an early start to your day. What's on tap for their opening day was a Citra Pale Ale, an Amber, a Vanilla Porter, which is one of the beers that we saw get posted about, a Blonde Ale, an ESB, and I should have done a little more digging. I'm not sure what the Sizer and Equinox is about, but looks like primarily more classical styles, but a nice variety. Greg, do you have any information? I wasn't sure on the Sizer or Equinox stuff for Fond du Lac. Did you know anything about that?
No, I don't know the styles on those.
Okay. But yeah, I am hoping. I know, Greg, you and I are both hoping to get up there pretty soon to visit Fond du Lac.
Yeah, this is one of our fully new ones that are coming in. Obviously, Brewery Desert. There's so many things here that are just really excellent. We've reached out to them, waiting for them to call us back, and hopefully we can give you a feature on them soon. If not, Joel and I will be on the ground here soonish. But we are really excited about this one. And it just looked like everything went good as far as the the opening and the soft launch, and so everything's been going to plan since they opened. So if y'all have any feedback on this, let us know. Y'all been there, send us pictures. We are just excited. We just can't get up there, but when we will, we'll let you know and get y'all a full report. But this is one we've been looking for a while here. And Lyle, hi, Lyle.
It's from a cidery. Perfect. Okay, so it's not their own stuff. Perfect.
Yeah, and Yeah, and what's up, Lyle? Nice to see you. Lyle's the brewer there, y'all. So that's good. That's good stuff right there.
Hey, so from the horse's mouth, then is what you could say. So perfect. Well, that answers our question there. I guess if I had done a little more digging, I might have known that anyway. But yeah, like you said, Greg, I'm thrilled about this brewery coming into Fond du Lac. That this is a fully new brewery coming into a place that doesn't have one, hasn't had one. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great spot there. The building looks really nice. It seems like, I'm sure there were some delays, but it seems like it went pretty smoothly overall. I felt like in terms of the full process. I mean, we know how messy that can get with some other breweries. So kudos to Fond du Lac. It seems like, yeah.
And Lyle's here, so he could tell us, Lyle, while we're here, let us know, how did everything go? And, is, it feels like everything's full go, and we're just, happy and, happy and excited to see what y'all, going to do up there. And, it's something that Fond du Lac has needed for 88 years or something. So here we go.
Yeah, that's for sure. And yeah, and I'm just like we said, they did a good job renovating. It seems like it's in a cool location there, pretty much like downtown Fond du Lac. Outside chance I may even get there this Saturday. I can't make any promises, but I'm thinking it could possibly happen. But yeah, otherwise, if we hear anything else, like I said, we'll have more updates. So, and now here is the news that kind of caught us off guard and came out of left field in a way. Milwaukee Business Journal published this article this afternoon about a new brewery being planned in Menominee Falls, Clockwork Brewing and Blending. So this proposal would be for a new build there in Menominee Falls, be over 12,000 square feet building, warehouse, production area, tap room. It's a big thing. And I'll come back to this page to show the rendering, but on here, this map is showing where this is proposed to be located. I believe based on what I could decipher, you can see here I have marked where Third Space Innovation Brewhouse currently is located and where Hop Yard is. The yellow star, I believe, is the intersection where this brewery is going to be. Based on the description, it technically could be just to the northwest of that at the other end, but I believe because they talked about it being right next to the golf course there. So I believe that is where this will be located should it come to fruition. Doing a little digging, and it seems like this is being put together by a familiar name in the Wisconsin craft beer scene here. If I can pull it up, the information. I should have had this ready to go here already. Adam Anders, who helped start, who is registered with this LLC. He is one of the co-founders of Ope Brewing in West Allis, which has been very successful there and just announced their expansion to Appleton. Prior to that, he was also brewing some at Explorium. So he has plenty of experience. And I think most importantly, he has experience opening up a brewery that has a pretty large space with plans to brew quite a bit, and what was Ope, which seems like what this is going to potentially be. The one thing you and I talked about earlier on behind the scenes is that the and blending has piqued our interest because places like Sway, Black Rose also had that moniker as part of their name. So yeah, very, very intriguing. There's nothing else out there right now on this. There's no social media pages. I couldn't even find a real logo besides what was on this rendering for the graphics. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Do you have any additional thoughts, Greg, other than, I mean, I'm excited. This is going to be like 15-ish minutes from my house, assuming it all, comes to fruition. So this one immediately caught my eye, you could say.
Yes. But as Joel knows, we just got to keep in mind, y'all, that it says proposal. So yes, once 100%. I think, there's some things apparently that haven't been approved. So once that happens, we will be reaching out and trying to get more information. And I would suspect that since it's a ground up, we won't see this one for at least a year or two.
Yeah.
But We'll keep y'all updated, and we, as Joel is saying, he's excited, and that area, Menominee Falls, is starting to get something going on here.
This would be the first brewery that would truly be a Menominee Falls brewery, though, because the other two are both secondary locations with Third Space and Hop Yard. Neither one of these are both secondary locations, and I think it's Third Space. I think might be brewing. I'm not sure if they're brewing there or not, but Hop Yard is not brewing there, so this would be like the one true Menominee Falls brewery. So
sure,
very excited for them.
3 in that area.
Yes, absolutely, for people visiting. Yeah, but they're also they're a little spread out, though, as you can see there. They're not right next to each other. But two of the three of them are pretty close to the freeway, or they're all kind of close-ish to the freeway, with just Hop Yard downtown. But we'll see.
The two that we know are quality. So if this is quality, we got 3 of them there. It's pretty good. Yep. Pretty good.
So moving on now,
speaking of expansion,
we have a couple announcements on secondary tap rooms. Brewfinity just recently announced that they had their soft opening for their Pewaukee tap room. This one I will need to get out to. It looks like it's a really beautiful location there, right across the street from the lake. I'm not sure they're doing their official grand opening in July. It says. I don't believe they've published hours yet. But I would guess by the time you see us next time, we will have all that information. But this is another one we've been really excited about following for their expansion opportunity. And yeah, another location for Brewfinity there in Pewaukee.
Amen. Good one.
And then this one is more over by, your neck of the woods there. And so if you want to I'll pass the rock to you here if you want to take over for Hop Garden big announcement.
Well, yeah, and there's, obviously, opens up Wednesday, so that's next Wednesday. Look at that, next Wednesday already for this expansion of Hop Garden. Hop Garden jumps off as a place that has really nice venues, so I'm expecting this to live up. It's an old garage, so we love a renovation of a good a good historic building. 1917 garage. I'm not sure how old that building is, but look at it. It looks really great. Hop Garden again, really, really nice spaces, nice beer. And, they have their own hop garden. They grow their own hops. So, this is a night, Belleville, I don't believe has any breweries. So this is really a nice, hopefully this will work expansion wise. Joel and I or I'll speak for myself, but I think Joel agrees. We're excited about extensions, but we are wary about them too. Yes. So it's kind of a mixed bag. But this one I feel is, pretty good with the Belleville. I think
they've
Belleville
already done it
will
once
support.
Too.
Yeah, but and Belleville will support, I believe. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I'll be getting down there. Soon. Something. It's close to the show. We'll have a report. I don't think we've reached out to Hop Garden, but we need to talk about this. But really excited about this one. That's next week, y'all. We have a new extension of Hop Garden open in Belleville. So keep an eye on that. They have a different page than they normally. They have a Hop Garden Belleville page. So I suggest that y'all run over there, on Facebook and check them out to make sure that you can make sure which Hop Garden you're talking about. So cheers to Hop Garden. And now we have another one, which is Brewed Omen in Hartford, Wisconsin. And I, for some reason, thought Hartford, Wisconsin was up north. And it's north of Madison. Okay, Joel.
I mean, technically, I guess by a little bit.
Don't do
by like what? How? I don't know what degree angle you're talking about there, but
like 2 degrees or something. Brewed Omen's in between Madison and Milwaukee. Basically, it's one. But I talked to the so as you first of all, as y'all can see here, Brewed Omen is it's a bar. It's a craft beer bar at the moment, but they have always had plans to be a brewery, Joel. I talked to the brewer today on the phone. We had a really good conversation that lasted way longer than we both thought it was going to, because we were just going in everything. But Brewed Omen here, as y'all can see, follow them on their Facebook page or on their IG. They're literally updating us every time something happens here. This is fun. Joel and I love this because Joel and I are like, we're always looking for information, always looking for where the brewery's at, what's going on. So they literally have a nice graphic here where they check off. Brewed Omen, I believe in Hartford is going to be one that us beer travelers are going to want to go to for a couple of reasons. But I don't want to belabor the point here, but they are in a nice building, a nice historic building that's been there since the 1800s. Their brewer is a home brewer turned professional brewer. He's been curating their beer list for a couple years now, so he knows beer. It's really going to be really interesting. They have 24 taps there, so I don't know how many of their own beers are. And Joel asked me today about whether I asked them if how many guest taps they're going to have. And so Brewed Omen is one that's coming, y'all. It's there right now. You can go visit it right now, but they're not brewing. And as you see, they're still setting up their equipment, actually. So we will have much more about that. And I believe Joel's going to talk to Kyle the brewer at some point here soon. And we're going to get an update. Yeah, we're going to get it. We're going to get an update here probably before the brewery opens and everything.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And we'll let y'all know. But Brewed Omen is one that I know Joel's excited about.
Yeah, only about half an hour from me here. And yeah, Brewed Omen there now. That it's now called, I believe it's the Brewed Omen Brew Pub now, though. So we have to remember that we covered their rebranding. So, but yes, very exciting stuff for them. And before continuing, I'll just pop in here.
Very exciting stuff from you.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I just so people know, I'm not the one that puts this in here. Greg literally messaged me and said, "Hey, here's the slide. Like, you should put your book event in there." And I said, "Okay,
absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that." But
hey, man, part of the family and
yeah. Anyway, if you are interested in coming out to, I was gonna say buy a book, but even if you just want to come hang out, yeah, see, Greg's got the book there. Even if you just want to come hang out and enjoy some really good beer, I have two events this weekend. One, the first on Friday, is at North Pillar Brewing Company in Waukesha. Love the beer, love the space, love the guys there. Phenomenal all around brewery. I'm going to be there from 6:30 to 9. Or wait, no, that's the old one. Crap. I'm going to be there from 4 to 7. We changed the time on it and I published the other one. So it's 4 to 7. Ignore that graphic. It's 4 to 7 in Waukesha. I may stick around a little bit later anyway, depending on how things go. But I will be at North Pillar, and you can if you go to my Insta or their Instagram page, the correct graphic is there. Then Sunday, I'm going to be up in Green Bay at Titletown, up on their their sky deck or whatever, their upper deck area that overlooks like they're in downtown Green Bay. I'm going to be there starting at 3, and then doing a live Q&A starting at 4. So a lot of great beer at both these places. Should be a fun time. Even if you don't want to buy a book, just come hang out and drink some beer and make it seem like you are interested in buying a book, because then more people will be like, "Oh, what's going on over there?" So just need I guess I need to get some paid actors or something. Can't afford very many paid actors though with how many, so got to sell books for that.
Yeah. And Joel's books events are fun. I went to 2 of them myself, and they're fun. And Joel, before we move on, if you're done, I want to make a note here quick.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Y'all, North Pillar, both are really good places, good beer. They both have their different kind of ambiance going on. Really nice spaces both ways. I haven't been to either one, but I've heard nothing but good about both spaces, especially North Pillar from Joel, who visited there very early when they opened. One thing I do want to highlight here, Joel, before we move on, Lyle did say things went great as far as the opening for Fond du Lac. They're super excited with their staff and the place. Send him a message, Joel, and he might be there next Saturday. So, or he will be there Saturday if you can.
Send him a message.
Thanks.
Wife
Joel.
and kids have to come.
Hold on, Joel. Hold on, Joel.
Yeah.
Hold on, Joel. Thanks, Lyle, for being here and shouting us out, and we wish y'all the best. So, yeah. All right, Joel.
Let's go.
Yeah. So this is a pretty big one, Joel, right?
Yes, I agree. And this is one that I believe you listened. Did you listen to the podcast that was talking about the brewer and stuff here? Or following it? So
yeah. You go.
Well, I was going to
For
say,
me.
okay. Well, first of all, so Tailwind's announced that they have a brewer. Tailwinds, for those that cannot recall, they are the new brewery being built in Union Grove. They are going to be like aeronautic, airplane kind of themed. And Greg Brown is going to be the brewer there, they just announced. So he has been working in the industry, it says, like for about 3 decades. He's brewed at several breweries, primarily down there in Illinois, Flatlanders, Mickey Finn's, Goose Island, Art History, Geneva Lager Works. So like that's a pretty solid list there. I've been to a couple of those places. Art History is one that I have not been to, but I've heard good things and that I would like to be able to visit. And so quite the brewing experience to be able to pull for a brand new brewery, to be able to pluck him out. But yeah, so and if you are wanting like actual more details, what I was alluding to is that Good Beer Hunting did have a podcast featuring him when he was with Art History Brewing. But if you're looking to get kind of a picture of what the beer landscape might look like there at Tailwinds in Union Grove, episode 338 of Good Beer Hunting is where you should probably go and stumble on over towards.
Yes, he's an interesting fella with interesting beer philosophy. And if y'all are interested or close to Tailwinds and want more information, it's a good, fun podcast listen. So shout out to Greg Brown and Tailwinds. We will, of course, we have a little bit more of Tailwinds. This is their this is on their website, and this is, you know, their words. So this is what their brewing equipment looks like. They're gonna have a 5 barrels, kind of. You know, we could kind of read into that, y'all, that they're going to keep it really, really tight and close. As far as distribution goes, it feels like you can push out some 5-barrel beers, but normally, you know, this kind of system, Joel, you know, normally, you know, we're keeping it close and we're keeping it tight, and you know, Joel and I like to see that.
Yeah. I think this is going to be, this is another one. Again, I'm excited about, not too far from the Milwaukee area. If you're in southeastern Wisconsin, you are probably within striking distance of this place. And it does say Brew Public. I know that they are planning on food too. And it really seems like we've covered other posts that, that they are going to have quite a bit of airline memorabilia. And so if you are into planes and flying and whatnot, and they made it sound like they're going to be changing stuff out too all the time. So they must have quite the collection there. So yeah, all cool stuff, and hopefully, seems like after talking, you know, not necessarily on the cusp of finishing, but it sure seems like we're making pretty good progress down there.
We're making progress, and the guy who went to a flying school says, "Let's go with this one." Yeah. I'm coming out there, Joe. I don't know when, but I'm coming out there for this one. Maybe we can make it a date. Yeah, maybe we can make it a date. But if not, yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Everybody needs an airplane themed brewery in their life. That's all I got.
Yeah, I've been to ones in Iowa and Denver, and as well as in Dubuque, Iowa. So, you know, needed one up here in Wisconsin for sure.
Yes.
Well, and
yeah, here we go.
And here we go. Our good friends, or now good friends. I feel like, you know, we've really started to build a good relationship with them up there in Boulder Junction. So they have continued to work on finishing out their built from scratch brewery. You can see the flooring there. And if you want to hear more about that, you can go and listen to the podcast interview I did with them. And the flooring, we talk about that because that was one of the very special things that they put in after talking with other people that built breweries. And there's a specific reason. That'll be my little teaser to get people to go and listen. Still plugging away, hoping maybe still later this summer to be able to get open. But yeah, you know, Ian and Tracy, we're wishing them all the luck up there. Continue to have conversations with them. And I know you're hoping to get up there for the grand opening whenever that happens, depending on when the dates fall.
Yeah, maybe before, maybe after, something like that. But I'm going up. And also, they're a really fun follow, y'all. Follow them on Facebook or Instagram. They're fun because they put almost everything out there. If you're interested in builds and stuff like that, everything's out there. And they're just really fun people. As you would notice if you go to the podcast, you would hear they're fun. Couple. She's brewing, he's doing operations, so they are family run organization brewery. I mean, there's just so much to like about here. We don't have to be close in order to admire it from afar. And we're admiring Boulder Junction, and we're looking forward to that opening, and we'll have some coverage of it here at some point. We're looking at August, y'all, but we may not. We'll see. We'll see how this stuff goes. Yeah, Joel. So and Joel did a really good job with Ian and Tracy as far as talking to them on that podcast. 42 minutes, y'all can get through that on one little drive up to a brewery that you're going to go to this weekend. So cheers to that. We have another one. So here's Derriere. Derriere's another brewery being built out, y'all. And as you can see, y'all, there's a 4-minute video. I suggest you go over to their Facebook page. You'll get a 4-minute video. He walks through where they're at and all that. We can't really play that here. Well, I mean, we could, but we don't have that. We don't have that time. We want to keep it as concise as possible. But check out Derriere. They're in Seymour, which is in between Green Bay and
it's just a little ways
Appleton
west of Green Bay. Yeah, it's just basically due west of Green Bay, north of Appleton.
So check them out. Highly, and go like them, but actually, go do the 4 minutes, and he'll give you all the full updates. We're just gonna let him speak for himself on that one because that's what he's doing. So we'll give you more updates when they open and all that for sure. Joel's really excited. Joel really wants to talk about this, though. I know he does.
Yeah. So we covered this. This is just the whole process and timeline of this is so intriguing and interesting. So Lombardi Brewing Company, we discussed this big announcement that they were moving in to the City Lights, whole background with them, with all this kind of stuff. But anyway, what we currently have now is we have a little more information on where they are going with their branding, with their beers. They actually just had a post today that they were running through some stuff with their brewing system, which hints at they might be closer. Like, we were kind of skeptical about that timeline when they announced it. Hell, they might be open next month. I don't know. We'll see, because I think at one point there was an article that said July, and I did not think that could be possible. But at this point, nothing would surprise me, I guess. If you're just listening and you cannot see, go to their Instagram or Facebook, Lombardi Brewing, and they have some can art on here of 6 different beers that I'm assuming are going to be, I don't know, core beers, or if they're just going to be beers that are going to be brewed, like some of the first beers. But we have Long Arm Amber, Wedge Citra Pale Ale, Chasing Perfection Hazy IPA, Golden Lager, Hail Mary Hefeweizen, Old Sullivan's Irish Ale. And I know the logo itself, I think, could maybe use a little tweak or something, but I will say I have become a big fan of this. The can art feels very, very retro to me, and I just really like the way it's one, kind of concise, but it's also, you can tell it's all the same branding, because some of the breweries, like, there's different types of, you can't always tell it's from the same brewery. This, very evidence all from the same brewery, the old school kind of colors and the old school kind of shield on there. And as a Packer fan, you may have heard some of the names and been thinking, oh, like you did different, maybe thinking about like a Hail Mary Hefeweizen. No, that must just be a football, just a football term. Well, in the middle of the can, there's a star with the number 12 on it. And Packer fans may recall that a certain former quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers became known as arguably the greatest Hail Mary thrower in football history. And then you have Golden Lager, and that one has a star with a number 5 in the middle. And Paul Horning was number 5, and his nickname was the Golden Boy. And then in Long Arm Amber, you got number 7, Don Magic Man Magikowski, and so on and so forth with different names. The only one, the O'Sullivan's Irish Pale Ale, doesn't have one. I don't know why. I didn't bump that. But anyway, yeah, we'll see. I know that I believe the Packers, was it Jim Taylor, I believe was 31. But anyway, I told Greg that this is the job I need, is figuring out all the different beer names and what number can coincide with it. But yeah, that's the update on them. I won't drag on talking about the Packers too much longer, but this is something that I'm now more intrigued by. I'm hoping that the beer lives up to it. But for now, yeah, seems like I'm in on the can art, at least. That's what I can say at this point.
Lombardi, I am Joel's de facto agent here. He will work for beer, and he just wants to because he just loves this. He loves your brand. He loves the idea of your brand. He loves the name of it. He loves your can art. So all you have to do is, slide him a few beers, and he'll have every style lined up for y'all. So
I was messaging you those names. I was messaging you. My son's name is Lambo. I mean, I got this on lock.
Just so you know, y'all, you can email Greg at badgerbeerreport.com and we can talk.
And then Greg, if you're my agent, does that mean you're getting a cut of the beer? Like a certain percentage?
No, I mean, there's only so much beer you can drink, Joe. I do know this, so I'll get some slid to me.
Yeah.
But we're gonna start. Thanks for this, Joel. We're going to start documenting recent brewery birthdays, y'all. So we have Third Space Innovation Brewhouse was mentioned recently, had his first birthday. Way up north, we have Bassam Lake Brewery and Market. I don't think either one of us has been there. Have you been there, Joel?
No, I have not.
It's a brewery and a market, y'all. It's literally a market.
Seems and very, very unique.
Yeah, and they just run like a regular brewery, but you can do some shopping and get a beer, and it's kind of wild, actually. When we get there, we'll let you know. And then the 2018 was a good year for brewery openings with Giant Jones, McFleshman's, and our friend Some Nerve, who you can we have a podcast on Some Nerve, and we are working on a podcast. We're working on something with the McFleshman's, and obviously Giant Jones. I talk about them a lot, and we feature them a lot on Badger Beer Hour because our Badger Beer Report, because I'm there a lot. So shout out to them for birthdays. Again, we went through Bevy today in 1840. Nothing's guaranteed. So we will be celebrating every birthday that we are acknowledged. If y'all know about any birthdays, shoot us on social media. We just only can get what we get from social media for the most part. So if a brewery's not out there saying it or we miss it, we might miss a birthday, but we're not intentional by that. We are very intentional about celebrating birthdays and letting people know that they happen. So if you're a fan of any of them, I'm sure you already know, and you probably already went to the parties that they all threw. But on that note, happy birthday and things to keep an eye on, Joel. Anything stand out here?
Not particularly. I know that we talked to the Gravity Box folks when we were at the Wisconsin Beer Lovers Festival. They'd let us know here that what they were going to let us know when it was a little bit closer here for their opening in the Dells. The rest of it, we're just kind of in a holding pattern for now. Nothing is imminent. And with the current combination of closings and openings, this is where our numbers sit at: 209 breweries, 33 additional tap rooms and locations, 21 under the other category, for a total of 263 across the great state of Wisconsin. What is open in 2025, what is still coming. You can see we haven't really, the only addition I've made recently was the Clockwork Now, putting it in there until otherwise told. Thankfully we've had a couple of these cross the finish line and are others getting close. So we're making good progress filling out the map, I feel like.
Do you mind if I'm going to go back real quick?
Yeah, no problem.
We actually got two updates. Number one, somebody tipped us off about Bull Falls.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, they're working on their beer garden, y'all. Like they're trying to open or something, but we haven't heard anything since the people in Bull Falls said they're not using our logo and they're going to be moving on with a different name. So we haven't heard anything yet, but somebody drove by and told us that the beer garden, they're putting up, trees in the beer garden and they're working it. So why would you be working on the beer garden if y'all ain't gonna be coming out here soon. So keep an eye on Bull Falls. The second one is I talked to one of the owners of the Yard Brewing, and they're going through some problems up there. As far as with the municipalities, we will keep that. Actually, there's a really good article that we posted on our Facebook page. Y'all have to scroll a little bit. Really good article about the struggles that they're having with the local government up there. But they are adamant about continuing, finding a place, continuing to brew, continuing to distill. So the Yard is going nowhere for y'all fans up there in Green Bay. I know y'all can get them in the supermarkets and stuff, but they are working hard to bring y'all a tap room and bring us a tap room somewhere. They're looking in Green Bay. They've been actually looking all over the place. So they even looked in the UP of Michigan. That they're really doing their due diligence. They have a real estate background, y'all. So they're going to find a place when they get
the right place.
So the Yard will eventually have a place. What are you gonna say, Joe?
No, I was going to say the right place, because when you talk about them having a background in real estate, that means that they're not just jumping at the first opportunity. They know what kind of space they're looking for, which to me is a positive. It's better to take your time and find the right place than rush into something and have it not be the right fit for what you are trying to do, whether it's financial or otherwise.
Yeah. Also, I got the sense that they're very comfortable, if that makes sense. They're comfortable with looking and not settling on something that's not going to fit for them. So shout out to the Yard and Gravity Box. Gravity Box maybe we couldn't get anything out of them, y'all.
Not much,
but they might just say next week, hey, soft openings in a week. Like it may be that imminent. So keep an eye on that one. And I'm sniffing around about Empty Bottle, but I haven't got anything yet. Joe, thank you. I didn't want to take you off the beat here.
That was good to remember those updates. But yes, otherwise, like I said, we're starting to fill in the map. The ones that were going to be opening are now starting to actually open, which is very exciting. We have a couple of those on there that have happened since we started doing this. And then sadly had to add both 1840 locations and Bevy onto our closings from this past year. You can now see here I guess I could have put the Bloomer on here twice, but then they just sort of overlapped each other. So we have had a number of closings, but I feel like we're able to we've been keeping pace pretty good with the other openings. But yeah, at this point,
I want to make a comment real quick just about Bevy. I wasn't my internet was going goofy. Man, the Dells is just a hard. I don't know. I didn't get to hear what you said, but the Dells is just a really hard place to exist as a brewery, especially if you're not on the Strip. We have Moose Jaw on the Strip, and we have Pals, which is a little off, but it's on the main road, like you said. So, it's easier to find, and those places seem like destinations, Joel. Meaning, you go there, and there's other things to do besides the beer. Moose Jaw has the whole arcade and the whole family thing going on, and the food. And Moose Jaw is just a full service. Just I don't know. I love Moose Jaw. I love it. My family loves it. We just have fun there. And then Pals, you said you had fun with your family. Now Bevy's off the beaten trail, and it's hard. Yeah, and it's hard even in the summertime to get people off that main strip of the Dells. And it's they just basically shut down in the winter because there's no one up there. And all the people who are up there, like me, I love going in the winter, Joe. I love going to the Dells in the winter because no one's there. But, one of the places that my family goes in the winter up there is Moose Jaw. You know what I mean? Because it's up there, it's on the strip. It's just so shout out to Bevy. I'm sorry it happened, but I would suspect, Joel, that someone else is going to come in there. Because it was Port Huron before it was Bevy. So I just feel that someone's going to try it again.
Charm?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a charm, but you almost have to run it like our friends Some Nerve do, where it's up north, so they don't shut down in the winter, but they definitely cut back their hours, and they're just ready to be mobile during that time and not really, they make their money in the summer, and then in the winter they just get through, and then they just do that cycle. I think you have to have that mindset with a place like Bevy or a location where like Bevy is. So while we are optimistic about Gravity Boxes, because we're told that they're going to be on the main strip. So that is very, very important as far as the Dells goes, because the Dells immediately, Joe, you think about the Dells and you're like, man, like, that should be a great area because it just gets packed with tourists. But like, I don't know, the Dells is
what
just
percentage
a
of
weird place,
tourists are going out to the craft brewery tap rooms versus that are going there to just go to the water parks and, try to find whatever cheap deal they can find on alcohol. So,
right. And we've had Sprecher, was there and is not there anymore. So like, you know what I mean? There, Sprecher. I cannot say that one. That's an established, craft brewery that's been around forever, and they, went and came back. So I don't know, man. But shout out to all of our RIP breweries, especially 1840. We're gonna miss them. But luckily, and I don't mean this with any due respect or disrespect to them, luckily for us, it's in Milwaukee, so there's other ones to possibly buffer that loss, if that makes sense. Because right up the street is not right up the street, but close enough is Supermoon, and really close is the Warehouse with the 3 bangers in there. So shout out to 1840 and their family and their employees. Hopefully everybody can land pretty safely or easily, because who knows, I don't know how many people they employed with their 2 extensions, but it was enough that it's going to affect a bunch of families, including the owners. So, and hopefully the owners can get a little bit more peace in these coming months here, dealing with their family issues. So because I didn't really get to say anything about 1840 because I was not, I don't know where my internet was, but anyway, but yeah, Joe, and I don't know if that's our last thing before I shut up and let you do the finish. I just want to tell you, Joe, I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you put into Badger Beer Report, and I know it's reciprocal because we've had conversations. 100%. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of our fans. And I wouldn't call, actually, all of our watchers. I don't think anybody's really a fan of us. That's just weird. All of our supporters and people who are currently watching this, thank you for supporting us while we geek out on breweries, because that's literally what Joel and I do almost every single day. From when we wake up to when we go to sleep, we are talking about whatever's going on. So thank you for enabling this and watching us so that we can continue to do this. So cheers to that. So Joel, anything else to say, buddy?
No, I was just gonna say before I say the last phrase, make sure that all the people watching us here, if you do not follow us on Instagram, make sure to go do that. Like, you can do Facebook, some other places too, but in Instagram, if you follow us on Instagram, I'm pretty regularly, I'm sharing tons and tons of brewery events and happenings on our story. I'm sharing the posts directly from the brewery, so you're getting tons and tons of information there. But yeah, otherwise, as always, whether it's where you're visiting or where you're living, be sure to drink local everywhere. Cheers, everybody.